Let's welcome VP of Strategic Solutions and Partnerships, Stacey Georgoulis.
Hi, everyone. Wow, hi. It's not bad for the last session in this room on the last-ish day. Welcome, I'm Stacey Georgoulis. I'm our VP of Strategic Partnerships and Solutions here at CJ. I am excited and really honored to be here with a group of rockstar panelists, who I'll introduce in a minute, to talk about a topic that I think is on everyone's minds. Obviously, our keynote and our CEO presentation was a lot about AI as well. So if you've been on the conference circuit over the past year or so, odds are you've sat on some kind of session or panel about AI. So our goal today is twofold. One, we really want you to walk out of here with something new to learn that you didn't learn in another session, in another conference. And number two is that you walk out of here with opportunities you can actually enact today to drive revenue for your businesses. So speaking of AI, I got married this year, which I know, very natural segue. I promise I'll tie it in. So my husband, while he is madly in love with our dog, anytime she needs like a late night walk or she gets sick on the carpet, he loves to say that and tell anyone else who will listen, our next dog is going to be a cyber dog, which I know sounds silly and weird, but it's actually real. I'm going to show you.
Your pet may be like this, and this, or this. But have you seen one like this? Now, Xiaomi has provided pet lovers like you with a fresh experience. Let's get to know about Xiaomi CyberDog, an electronic pet capable of understanding you. It will bring you a good mood just like your pets do. And it can even perform for you.
So by the laughter I heard, I think we're all on the same page. We're not quite ready to replace our real dogs with AI cyber dogs. So I'm relieved that you guys found that funny and not serious, although it is a real thing and a real company. So let's pivot to an AI use case that's a little more palatable, one that can truly impact your performance. And on that note, I want to introduce the AI business leaders that we have here today. So come on up, guys. There you go. Now you know where to sit.
All right.
Oh, one more, Yohai.
Oh, sorry.
That was me.
Yohai wants to moderate the panel.
Next time.
Awesome. Okay, I'll just do some quick intros so we can get right into questions. So we have Yohai here from Natural Intelligence. We have Mac from Influential, Bobby from Dupe, and Teresa from eAccountable. Yay! All right. So let's break the ice and start with a real use case of how AI is being used and being put to work in affiliate today to drive tangible outcomes for clients. So Bobby, what you and your team have built at Dupe has gotten the attention of huge media outlets like the Today Show. Exciting. Yep. So talk to us a bit more about how any advertiser can work with Dupe to start driving more traffic and sales to their products powered by AI.
It's good to be here. I'm always interested in seeing how much market penetration we have. We launched 5 months ago. How many people here have heard of Dupe? Raise your hands. All right, I'm gaining a lot of new users today. This is amazing. So we'll look at a demo in a little bit. But we launched 5 months ago. Fastest way to explain what Dupe is, internally we use an AI buzzword without using the word AI, which is a generative marketplace, where we basically snap our fingers and create a marketplace on the fly, personalized to the user and the user shopping journey. What it essentially does for brands is it allows us to merchandise our partners to very high intent people who have a sense pretty much of what they want, but they want to feel like they've done that last mile research and they come to Dupe to make it so and to feel confident in their purchase. If we can go into a quick demo. So we're on a website, so this is what a user might do. We're on a website, we're looking at a table, it's like a $1,300 beautiful coffee table. They go to the URL bar, they type dupe.com in front of the product URL. Dupe will find that product, so here's that original table that we were looking at, $1,300. And then we instantly generate a landing page on the fly, personalized to that user with many products that have a similar vibe at different price points, essentially a whole price histogram. Because we don't really know what the price sensitivity of these users are, so we want to give them all the options in the market. And of course, we merchandise our partners highest up on the page. And there's actually like a lot of very implications, and we've seen a lot of really interesting things. So we launched 5 months ago, and this was like, it came out of the ashes of a dying company called Carrot, which we built like a really cool product with a lot of tech. We took one specific feature out of Carrot, launched it under like an insane domain name, which Gen Z like loves, and really made a very bold Hail Mary bet. And if it wasn't gonna work, we're gonna be dead. So it was basically, it was that sort of thing. So there was definitely some luck and timing involved there. When we launched, we noticed very quickly that people gravitated to this URL hack because it was a new way to shop.
Right.
They'd never seen anything like it, right? The fact that you can basically hijack any product URL and personalize that URL to help inform your own shopping is kind of a very creative breakthrough idea. And I think one of the things with AI, what it allowed us to do, what it I think allows really any business to do, is to challenge where your ceiling is on creativity, challenge where your technical limitations are, where you've been stuck before, and like really try something fast that melts the face off of people in a new way, because that's just where the tech is right now, right? Everything is novel in AI. And so we had the benefit of timing and frankly the courage to make this decision. And yes, it's grown really, really fast in the last 5 months. Millions of people have used it, grown entirely organically. We're driving millions of dollars in monthly sales for our partners. And all of them are benefiting from net new, very active, very high quality clicks and customers. And yeah, like in a nutshell, I think what we've created is an entirely new way to shop that's using established shopping patterns. Like who here uses like Google reverse image search? Right? Of course, like everyone does, right? But when you verticalize it, you can do some really powerful things. Like one of the things that we're trying out is dynamic pricing, which we're using through AI. Last mile price beating, which we're using through AI. Dynamic targeting, which we're using through AI. So AI.
Yep.
I. All in on AI.
Lots of I.
So that's
Are there categories that you're seeing that perform really well here?
Yeah,
higher price points?
So we specifically chose furniture as the marketing vector,
Yep.
as let's call it like an attack vector against the rest of the e-com marketplace. I think furniture gets very ignored. There's a lot of price discrepancy. There's a massive arb in furniture. There's a lot of white labeling that happens in furniture. And for a consumer, it tends to be the most expensive purchase they make through the year. They buy a lot of it together. They're very scared about making the wrong style decision. It requires a lot of research because it's so expensive. And it just broke out, got hundreds of millions of views when we talked about it on social. But what we're seeing is the moment people try it on a piece of furniture, they go to their favorite furniture site, they do the URL hack, which by the way, the URL hack is just kind of one way people use Dupe. You can take a photo of things, you can copy and paste a URL, you can upload an image. We've given people kind of a whole host of ways to use the product, and you can use it without an account, et cetera. The moment they use it, the dopamine hit is instant.
Yeah.
The friend organic word of mouth rate is instant. It's like, hey mom, like check this out for my dorm or whatever, right? And like, or moms use it and they tell their kids about it because the kids don't make that much money and they need to save money. So it's instant. And then we very quickly see people who have a successful journey with furniture try it on fashion. Yeah. Shoes, jewelry, clothes, and then it really becomes sticky. So yeah, so we decided to pick furniture as a starting point, but it works on really anything.
Awesome, good for everyone here to know. So any categories?
Yep.
Cool. All right, well, switching gears a little bit, another hot topic in AI is predictive analytics or data-driven insights. So I think we're all aware that the execution of creator and affiliate campaigns relies today far less on automation than some of our digital counterparts like programmatic media. But we honestly sit on a huge volume of data, and it can help identify the right partnerships. That is, if you or your agency partner have time to sift through loads of data and find the right partnerships. So want to turn it over to Mac. So how is Influential helping clients tackle the problem of the right brand to partner match?
Absolutely. So hi, everyone. Mackenzie, VP of Product Strategy at Influential. Influential is the newest company, part of Publicis Group, following the acquisition this summer. So very, very proud to be here and really kind of represent the start of what's to come with all of us integrating together. But Influential is the world's largest influencer marketing agency. And what we do is we provide end-to-end managed services that are technology powered for our brands and even agencies. And AI is coming into play across a lot of our execution processes. But there are really 3 areas where it's really taking traction and really helping us execute more efficiently, effectively, et cetera. That first area is finding the right creator. So not only are we leveraging things like AI semantic search and AI scoring systems based on brand parameters that clients are giving us, but we also leverage AI image recognition and brand logo detection within content. So what that's allowing us to do is find creators who have a Dunkin' cup in the background of their image constantly. They're not necessarily speaking about Dunkin' or mentioning Dunkin' in that post, but it's evident that they are a consumer of that product because it's always sitting on their counter, or they're chatting to the camera and it's always sitting in their hand. So that really allows us to find creators who are genuine consumers of a brand and generates that perfect creator to brand match. So in addition to that, the second piece of where AI is really coming into play is then ensuring that those creators are brand safe. Brand safety is so important when working with creators. It is something that we at Influential and the group take very, very seriously. And we will vet creators as thoroughly as possible when activating them for a campaign. And that vetting process not only involves looking at their social content history, so, okay, across the entire lifetime of their social content feed, what have they posted, what have they been talking about, and then additionally, what other social networks are they, or do they have a presence on, and are they saying specific things about? But then we also are looking at vetting them across background checks and web scans, their entire presence on the web. And AI has allowed us to really automate that process. So with a quick, simple leverage of an AI command, we're able to surface any web information about a creator, and then AI can also summarize all that information for us within a matter of seconds. Before we tapped into AI for this process, it was a manual process that our teams were doing. It would take them 10 to 15 minutes per creator, and then they would be doing that on 20, 30, 40 plus creators per campaign. We have some teams who are running 20 campaigns at a time. So just think about all of that time and that manual process that the team is doing to ensure that brand safety. AI has given our team so much time back, and now that time can, of course, be put to other executional processes or, life. But then the third area where AI is really coming into play for us is understanding authenticity when it comes to a creator's content and how they're organically speaking on their page and how that aligns with a particular brand. So Stacey, you can go ahead and put up the video here. And what you guys are seeing here is essentially an insights list that has been generated through our proprietary technology called Radius. Radius is the platform that our teams use and that our clients can also use to help execute influencer campaigns. And within that, we essentially have our own proprietary AI that uses natural language understanding and tone analyzer to read post copy of a social account, understand the tone of voice they're giving out, and then score them on personality traits, psychographic personality insight traits. So we can really understand, okay, how is this creator speaking to their audience? What's that personality that they're giving off? And how may that align with how a brand is speaking on social, or maybe even the persona that the brand wants to kind of shift toward as it relates to how they are perceived on social. So we've recently done this with McDonald's, and we do it with a ton of brands where they've come to us and they've said, hey, we really want to ensure the creators we're working with are giving off a personality that aligns with how we speak on social and really kind of how the campaign creative should come to life. They gave us things like hedonistic and impulsive, and how could you possibly find creators who align with that type of personality without this type of technology? So we looked at the personality traits and essentially activated creators who scored high on that hedonism and impulsive trait. When it came time to analyze the organic performance of their content, those creators who aligned with the brand's traits ended up surpassing past performance benchmarks. And it really showed McDonald's how when you allow a creator to authentically speak about your brand, speak in the tone of voice that they're speaking in and day out, and kind of just pull your brand into that, it's gonna really kind of increase engagement and allow you guys to expand into new audiences. So ultimately, creator searching, perfect brand match, ensuring brand safety, and then that authenticity driving back to strong campaign results is really where AI is coming into play for us.
Love that. I like the Dunkin' example because I'm from Massachusetts, so
yeah,
we're hardcore Dunkin'.
That's a big one.
That's probably how they found Ben Affleck as a creator,
exactly,
right?
yes.
Yeah, totally. Awesome. All right, I want to hear from Teresa next, who's on our panel representing the advertiser point of view. So at A Accountable, you and your teams manage performance marketing strategy across a number of different clients. So just want to kind of hear what are some of the solutions or partnerships for your creator or affiliate business that have been the most impactful?
Yeah, absolutely. AI has definitely been something that we have tried to integrate into our agency overall, from productivity and the obvious ways, but specific to affiliate, we were looking for how can we use AI to, for reporting to save time for the team, and how can they help out with reporting for that, and then also make smart decisions and the discovery as well. And so we actually partnered with affiliate.ai. They do AI specifically for affiliate reporting, and they are integrated on CJ. And so through the API, they can do things like send us daily, weekly, monthly reports for clients that not only has the data, but like commentary. And it's kind of, it's kind of the thing where you kind of are teaching it, tweaking it as you go. And I feel like with all AI created thing, it's a starting place. Like you start with that and then you can tweak it and make it in your own voice, but definitely productivity saver. You can also use it for queries such as create a QBR for Carl Friedrich or whatever. And it's kind of like, it's an outline, but it has the data in there for you for whatever quarterly, year over year, month over month, whatever metrics you want that you put in. So it's been great for that. Goals for using it as well as productivity. We want the team to make really smart decisions about whether it's where to spend our clients' money, optimizations, how to grow sales. And I think one of my favorite things about AI is it removes personal biases, both in hey, we've been optimizing with this publisher for a year. We have a good relationship. Let's work with them. But it can say, well, here's based on the data. If you optimize with this publisher, and here's the ones where we've seen a big increase in performance, and it can give you data like that and help the team, discover new opportunities and really make the smart decisions about where should we put our money, where should we put the client's money, where are we going to see the biggest payoff. So I think that's important. And I also do love that and the discovery process, whether it's new publisher partnerships or whatever, it might be influencers as well. You never know. It's always surprising you think oh, okay, here are ones that perform well in this category, but there's the other things like the semantics or the hedonism or things like that it's so crazy that matters so much, and I think especially in influencers, it's a really big deal with it's such a guess of like, is this influencer going to work or not? It looks like it, but it's those other types of factors that are the ones that truly matter, I feel like, and it's the AI helps us get to those points as well. So it's really important, and I think from a lot of levels, whether it's productivity, smart decisions, whatever it might be.
Yeah, we've kind of created this problem for advertisers of like this massive network of publishers, and how do you know, there's no way that you can sift through all of that and always find the right matches. So
yeah, and like helping find the ones to spend the time on and build the relationship.
Exactly.
That this is going to be profitable.
And you add creator to that, and it's just
Yeah.
like an insane
Yeah,
reach.
absolutely.
So, awesome, thank you. Okay, so another trending topic in AI, I'm sure you've all come across, is chatbots or conversational AI. So we have really unique publishers in our network that I'm sure some of you have heard of. So we have publishers who do like on-site AI customer service. One of them is Involved Tech, Big Sur AI. So I know natural intelligence is another one. So Yohai, I'd love to hear from the publisher side how natural intelligence is using chatbots to increase customer conversion and ultimately drive more revenue for clients.
Sure. So nice to meet everyone. Yohai Barak from Natural Intelligence. We're a performance marketing company, been around for just over 15 years now. And coming originally from search, we've gotten accustomed to performing our optimizations based on very limited data sets and very limited interactions with end users, with consumers. And for the past few years, we've been thinking and playing with the concept of conversational monetization, and more so in the last year or so since the emergence of AI into our lives and businesses. And for the first time, we're actually able to engage with consumers longer than the few seconds that we normally do, and have conversations with them, talk to them, listen to them, and understand their pain points, understand their needs, and quickly accumulate the data we need in order to custom tailor the best possible solution that we can, and provide them with that personalized experience based on their specific needs. And where the AI aspect comes into effect is the fact that we're able to, on the fly, adapt the funnel, the user experience throughout the landing page that they end up seeing based on the interactions that they had with the chatbot, and all the way down to their interactions with the sales rep that already has all the information they need in order to provide a custom tailored offer. And we'll see in just a second how this was applied in our pet insurance vertical. By the way, the CyberDog, I'm not sure we have a solution for that just yet.
I don't know if they need insurance.
We'll get there. But ultimately, having that understanding and really giving that personalized experience enabled us to, we already got really good at converting users, but really boosting the conversion rates that we saw. And in turn, and more importantly even, we got the positive feedback from the brands, the partners that we work with, that not only are they very happy with the increase in conversion rates, but also that we're able to sort of pinpoint that sweet spot in terms of the target audience that they're looking for and deliver that at scale. So they're seeing higher quality at scale from us, and the consumer from their part is receiving the best possible solution for whatever service it is that they came in for. And this was a game changer for our lead generation verticals. There's several dozens of those.
Awesome. Should I go ahead with the video?
Sure.
All right.
This example here is in pet insurance, and again, thinking originally about the way we approach this vertical, just trying to understand the generic approach, and then getting down to the details. What pet parent am I speaking with? What's the age? Are there any pre-existing conditions we need to know about? What specifically is the service or the insurance that you're looking for? And then by the time they actually have an offer in front of them, it seems to be very personalized and very custom tailored to their needs. And they can go on and ask questions about pricing and what's included and what's not. But basically, at the end of the day, the brands, or in this case, the insurance providers, get a very well-baked consumer that understands exactly what service it is they're going to be getting, what the pricing points are, and seeing very nice conversion rates, and then obviously good lifetime value with these consumers that have received a great experience coming into their service.
Amazing. Awesome. All right. So good to have heard from everybody about kind of specifically where you guys focus on AI technology. We know with the emergence of any new technology, there comes a lot of questions, concerns, and even fear. I know our keynote speaker spoke a lot about this. So I'd love to hear from our panelists where they've seen challenges arise maybe in their business with AI. We could start with you, Bobby.
Challenges in the business. If I had your cyber dog, I'd be pretty freaked out. That would be pretty scary. That would be a challenge. I think about challenges, I think there's some data quality questions. You want to make sure that you're showing the right partner at the right time. Like at Dupe, we work outside in from what is the customer, which for us is the consumer who's on their shopping journey. Like what is the best experience for them? And that requires really like a lot of data training, a lot of kind of thoughtful decisioning on where we source our product feeds, which partners we bring into the fray, and then to try and make sense of, like, are we actually showing these users qualitatively a good experience that makes them want, like, that builds confidence in them, that makes them want to go buy stuff. Like we don't have like privacy issues or anything because we're like really an anonymous platform. You don't even need an account to use Dupe. Like anyone here can just go on their phone right now and use it. And it'll work. It'll generate that marketplace, and it'll get you going on your shopping journey. And so, for us, I'd say probably the biggest issue that we run into with like advertisers is they get very concerned about showing up in a list with their competitors.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Right? It's like, and actually, they get even more concerned when their competitors are priced lower. That is the challenge. And so. But if you kind of squint at what we're trying to do, ultimately, like let's take, for example, someone who might be on a journey, let's say a 25-year-old in New York on a journey into a brand new apartment, and they want, mid-century modern look, and they decide they want an Eames chair or something like that. Now, most 25-year-olds don't have $7,000 to spend on an Eames chair. And they can run a dupe search on an Eames chair, and then we will show them a lot of similar vibed chairs for $300, right? That makes a ton of sense. Now, if you're Herman Miller, are you freaked out that we're showing,
Right.
15 competitors that don't have the original 7? You shouldn't be. Why? This 25-year-old wasn't going to buy that chair. They don't have money. And so the way we think about it when we talk to advertisers is, how do we help you find your natural audience? Every brand has a natural audience, right? There's a brand consumer fit that happens. And so when we show the price histogram to people, we're helping brands show up in the best way to the natural purchase persona, right? And when brands see that, and then they look at our data where, on the list of products on a page, for example, the cheapest stuff is at the top, the more expensive stuff is at the bottom, but like 25% of people buy the more expensive version of something on the page. And that surprised even us.
Yeah.
And that's where it started to make sense. It's like, actually, these consumers aren't looking for the cheapest thing. They're looking for the right thing, and the right stuff for everyone else is different to what's right for me. And when brands see that, actually, we were talking yesterday, and you mentioned that one of your brands, which is a high-end furniture brand, gets merchandise on Dupe a lot, and you've seen some sales come through there.
Yeah, and they were concerned about
And they were concerned about it, but then you were surprised.
We don't want people that are just price shopping, right?
Right, but then you were surprised
that
that
it's not going to work for us, and it does.
And it does. It works,
It works,
for high-end furniture brands. And so I think once a brand sees that, they get past that hurdle, and then it's just a question of, oh, how do I get you all of my products fast so that all of your shoppers can see the stuff that we've got housed? Because when you go shopping, you don't know what thousands or tens of thousands of products are in a catalog of a brand. And so you wouldn't even know where to look. These shoppers that go to these brands had no intention of shopping at the brand that we send them to because they had no idea that the brand carried the products that they wanted. And so once you see the natural, let's say like the natural order of how we create this like generative market experience, the whole product kind of comes together and it makes sense. The narrative makes sense, the design makes sense, it makes sense why we use AI, and people get really excited. They get past that barrier.
Yep.
Yeah.
Awesome. So Teresa, I know, with the example you shared earlier around the reporting aspect of using AI, like any challenges you've run into there that might be a little bit different than Bobby's use case?
Well, yeah, our legal definitely was very involved in making sure the sharing of the data is extremely, you just have to be super careful whether you're using ChatGPT, a proprietary tool, whatever it might be. Like you have to you have to give information to get back information, but make sure that that information is not going out there in the world and you're not accidentally sharing confidential information about your brand, your clients, whatever it might be. And so there's that question of like the visibility to it, as well as who owns the data then, who owns the data if the relationship ends, like all of that information, because it is machine learning and they're learning from it too. And so, but you're using the client's data. So, like that was definitely something that I think is something to be aware of, for sure, with anything that involves confidential information. But you do have to, you have to share it to get the use of it. So,
Yep.
just making sure there's safety around it.
All right, well, we're gonna wrap things up with one last question, moving away from the fear and concerns to the exciting stuff, the future. So obviously we know AI is still very new to most of us, and all of you guys are performance marketing experts with tons of experience in the affiliate and creator space. So looking ahead over, say, the next 1 to 2 years, because we know it's gonna be a pretty short timeline for change, how do you see AI evolving for publishers and advertisers, and where do you predict it will make the biggest impact? Could start with you, Yohai.
Sure. So if you asked the same question a year ago, everyone would go to that crystal ball that they have lying around and give you the best possible guess. And I think that over the past year, within our companies and specifically at Natural Intelligence, we've reached a point where we've already invested time, effort, resources into making progress, learning how we can leverage AI to make improvements in our businesses. And now would be sort of a good time to take things from the theoretical level to the practical level. And specifically now is an amazing time because when we originally embarked on our formal journey into AI, that was exactly 1 year ago. And we found ourselves sitting in the budget and planning sessions for next year, and understanding that we're going to need to invest a lot in these areas, and saying that okay, most of us, I'm sure is true, we're a data-driven company. We want to work based on KPIs and measurable KPIs at that. And after scratching our heads for the better part of a week, we came up with the amazing KPI of boosting and enhancing efficiencies and productivity. And then we knew we had to attach value to that, so we said, let's do 10%. That sounds about right. And what we've learned over the past year is that there are areas with the potential to do a lot more than 10%, and those are sort of within our grasp. If we invest the appropriate attention and time and resources into them, we can generate 30 and 50% improvements in efficiencies. And there are other areas with a lot of potential, but the investment into them is just too high at the moment. So we'd rather sort of allocate our resources where we can see benefits in the near future, for that lack of a crystal ball. And to bring it down to a few areas that we've invested in the last year and seen some significant progress and adapted and evolved our processes in accordance with it. I think I'd start with, we mentioned this before, predictive analytics. We created an in-house tool that's designed to learn the behaviors. It's called Intent Flow, learn the behaviors and the interactions that we have with our consumers, and better predict their behavior and allow us to optimize based on that. We've already established large enough data sets in order to learn and apply those machine learnings onto that data, and better understand how to serve, or which funnels to serve to which types of clients in different verticals. I think another area that's been great in terms of the progress we made has been in our content department, looking at AI-generated content or automated content creation. The first initial hypothesis we had was we'll do more with less. And what we quickly found out was that we can do a lot more with the same by simply leveraging AI and making the necessary adaptations to the processes and methodologies of our content team. And we didn't have to fire anyone, so that was a positive outcome as well. So we're definitely going to be investing more in that area the next year or two. And I think the last area, which probably had the most significant impact on our business, was in the automated ad creation process, ad management and ad creation. The marketing department at Natural Intelligence is the largest department we have at the company, over 100 employees strong. And when we figured out how to apply these AI methodologies into the ad creation and ongoing ad management in 80 different verticals, and we mentioned the time and effort that goes into the ongoing daily manual management of a lot of these campaigns, and then you're able to take those learnings and apply that to a team of 100 employees, then you're achieving a significant boost of efficiency, and you're doing it at scale. And we've seen some tremendous results over the last year, so there's a lot of appetite to continue investing in that area and really seeing where that potential gets us. Exciting times.
Very exciting. Very cool. Mac, what about you?
Yeah, actually very similarly to your last point, Yohai, one area where I see AI just completely starting to come into play, but really accelerating is obviously with these recommendation engines, right? Like Dupe is a recommendation engine, but when it comes to your ads, really having dynamic recommendation engines that can analyze, okay, what's your KPI and what are the different creative assets that you have live and how are they performing in real time and how can it then get you that information back in real time so that you can optimize towards your KPI, ultimately putting your dollars behind those ads that are going to drive your results more efficiently, more quickly, and save time and save money. So we're seeing that come to life a lot, especially with boosting creator content. It's one thing that Influential really prides ourselves on being able to do is not only run that organic content and that organic element of the campaign, but then also layer on that paid aspect of it, where you're really then able to drive those metrics and that ROI on that ROAS, being able to tap into those recommendation engines and have them make recommendations for you based on what's really working every minute, every hour. That's really where we're seeing things start to grow, and we're involved with a few partners on how we really optimize that and make it better. So I think it's a really, really interesting point.
Awesome. All right. Well, we have, looks like 7-ish minutes left. I wanted to see if there were any questions from the audience after hearing what our panelists had to say today. There's a couple people who walk around with microphones if anyone has a question. Yes, Kenya.
Thanks. Hi, Kenya Ivy with CJ. Quick question. This is for you, Mac. I know that context matters, and so when we start to think about AI being able to assess intent, I wanted to ask you how the tool, I think you said it's called Radius, is able to really handle generationally specific or culturally relevant jargon. We know that if an event is lit, you might not need to call the fire department. And if it's no cap, I might not be wearing a hat today. Doesn't mean that, right? And so I'm very curious when you start to talk about language and the specificity around that and what's most relevant for brands, how you all are able to really make those determinations using that AI technology.
Absolutely. It's such a good question, and it's something that we get all the time. So 2 pieces. When our AI is reading the post copy, it's doing it across the history of their feed, and it's also updating every month. So it's really learning as it goes, and it's understanding fully the context of that sentence, not only the words and the structure of the sentence, but the punctuation, even the emojis that are being included in that post copy. Those are all different contextual elements that are really helping it further understand how a particular word is being used. A great example of that actually is creators using the word recipe. In its infancy stages with some of the AI that we've built, whenever a creator mentioned recipe, originally it would bucket them into a food category, right? But then when we took it a step further, we were realizing that they were saying, oh, well, that was a recipe for disaster when I was, traveling X, Y, and Z, and they were more of a travel influencer. So it comes to understanding all of the elements and the semantic pieces of that post copy, but then also just training it, like very much to Teresa's point, training your AI and consistently feeding it data is really what's going to make it more accurate and better. It's like a human, right? The more consistent you do a sport or you do something, the better you get at it. And that's really how AI is. So that's something that we're really cognizant of, is continuously feeding our AI with the data and also making sure that it's adjusting in a dynamic way. So that, maybe 3 years ago, a creator was speaking in a very hedonistic way, and they've adjusted that tone of voice, and they've kind of adjusted their persona on social. We're ensuring that the technology is really staying on top of those adjustments and able to, portray, really where that creator is at that time.
Any other questions? Gio?
Hi. Hello. How often would you say would be appropriate to continuously feed that data in? And this goes for multiple people on the panel. It's like what's the frequency that you feel would be sufficient enough to get you the right results?
Yeah. I would love to hear, other opinions on this, but from our standpoint, we are feeding our AI every single day. Our teams and our clients are leveraging our Radius platform every single day to execute influencer campaigns. And in the social media world where things are so dynamic and ever changing and ever evolving, I think that as frequently as possible and on a daily basis, if you can continue to feed that AI, the stronger and better it's going to be, and the more adaptable it's going to be with how everything else is growing and changing. And it's something that we try to even tell our users of our product. When we launch a new AI tool or a new AI product, it's a lot of the times not performing at their expectations because it needs to learn and it needs people to use it in order to essentially meet that desired performance. So, I'm constantly, when I'm trying to drive product adoption of our new things, I'm constantly telling our users, like, you got to use it, you got to give us feedback, So I personally think as frequently as possible is really just going to get you to that performance level that you want on it, that accuracy level that you want on it, but then it's going to be able to grow with you as well.
I totally agree. Like, it's all dependent on that, so that's how it learns. So absolutely.
I would just add that it depends how much money you have in the bank. Depends how big the data set is, how many permutations of answers it can have, depends on the quality of the problem set you're going after and how predictable the answers are. There's probably some asymptotic outcome at some point. If you throw $1 billion at a product feed, it's probably not going to be any better than just throwing $1 million at it. So that you have to think about the question. The question really is, like, how big is your data set? How hairy is the problem? And how much money do you have in the bank? And how many engineers do you have? Yeah, Gio, good question.
Anyone else? Okay. Well, thank you guys so much for being here today. It was an awesome discussion. I hope everyone in the audience learned something. And feel free to come chat with the panelists after. Thanks all.